Dun, 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 dun. Kilted balls.
Oh, you snuck up on me there.
I did my point, but it was under the screen.
That was the shortest intro song ever.
Oh no. I'm so sorry. Well, welcome back, listeners, to our short intro day today.
Yeah,
We're just so excited to get into it. So,
exactly.
I was thinking today, I haven't had really a lot to drink in forever, which is probably okay, but I'm like, I'm having something tonight. And so we're having a little whiskey rye, some honey rye.
Nice. Yeah, I thought about that when I had a drink last Wednesday playing D&D.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time in a month I had a
man.
drink.
Well, I think
So-
this is good for your throat. A little of that honey rye.
I really thought about it. I was like, I just need to do old school. I don't know where I went. I just need to go.
We can definitely
I just
still hear
need-
you. So,
I just need to go old school and just put some honey and some Jack, put it in the microwave for just a couple seconds.
man, I tell you, I was just talking about this just recently with people because they said something like, I don't know, trying to be funny or whatever. I'm like, no, but you should do like whiskey or honey. And they're like, yeah, ha ha ha. And I'm like, that's seriously what we had growing up. It was honey, whiskey, lemon, and water, warmed up. And that's what my mom always made us anytime we had a cold. And if you look, that's really similar to what cough medicine is. Like, it's all backed by science. But instead of you having ethanol in your cough medicine, we're having whiskey, which is ethanol. It's the same stuff.
And you don't get the red dyes, so that you
And
don't
you
get
don't get the red dye. You're getting fresh lemon juice. You're getting honey, which people already know is good for coating and all of that kind of stuff, and the warm water. And I'm like, okay, it's if you listen to Lifer, which is, I'm not a huge proponent of Lifer, but he's always talking about eating honey and drinking lemon water. We're just tagging on the whiskey, which helps put your kid to sleep, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was going to say, you just get in a big blanket and go to sleep. Actually, it's funny. That's what I told Tristan Wednesday because he got everybody sick. He had started out. He was not feeling well Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I said, just he could just have some whiskey and you just go to sleep.
Yes. Yes, and we're big believers in my house, especially the ones who got my genes. And you know this from our years and years together. Like, if we're sick, like Brenna does this now, like, you just go to sleep. You sleep for a day or two, you wake up and you're all better. Like,
Yep. Yeah.
so-
At least your first one has your genes.
Yes, she for sure. She's my kiddo. That's no doubt at all. So yeah, well, hopefully everyone, you had a great Thanksgiving. Our last episode was the lead up to Thanksgiving. I found that at the end of this Thanksgiving weekend, I needed a break.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I can't decide if going like to my 9 to 5 is a break from everything, or if I need a break from everything. I just need a couple days. But
Oh, are you going to schedule a cruise or something?
no, because now I'm done, right? Like,
Okay.
you know me, I'll
You're
just
all better.
push through, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. But it was one of those things where, you had Thanksgiving, which was wonderful and great. And then on Saturday, we had a scrimmage, and we went to go see Ava March at Western. So Saturday was an all-day affair, and then Sunday was Christmas tree hunting and getting the Christmas tree decorated, and then driving Ava back to Western. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was like, and then racing back from Western through the snowstorm to get to church. So it was just like go.
I was so busy Monday. I forgot to ask, did you have school Monday? Because Sunday night when we talked, you said the bad storm was starting.
It didn't hit
So I
here.
wasn't sure if it put you out. Okay,
But
Jamie
to give
got
you,
hit.
Jamie got hit, but even he didn't get. So Gaylord, which you know where Gaylord is, I think they're somewhere around 4 feet so far.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's just a little bit north of you. Because
So,
Gaylord is an hour away. I'm trying to remember my times.
a
Well, it's
couple
80 up
hours
there
or so.
now,
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I forget, it's something like crazy. Like they got hammered the first day, and the funny
Yeah.
thing is if you go to like Ishpeming, they got nothing. So it's that
Really?
it's that lake effect
A lot.
coming across, and the lakes are warm, and so
Yeah.
it picks up all that moisture that just dumps it. And so Kalamazoo got dumped a few others. And today we were talking about, because there's another winter storm warning for spots. But like where we are, we don't get hit by the lake effect. But you could like see it coming. So like when I was driving Ava back to Kalamazoo, you could see the snow, like, 50 miles away, just dropping. It's like pure black skies. And you're like, great. That's literally what we're driving into to get you home. And then I've got to drive out of it. So, it's just
that's
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got a dusting here. 77 was closed for hours. Fire trucks tipped over, like all sorts of crazy stuff.
I saw you guys got a dusting. And I was like, well, that's going to shut down the city. Meanwhile, Gaylord with 4 feet is still going. Kalamazoo with 2 feet is just still going.
Well, they're not used to it for sure. And I understand that. Because it was funny, like just looking at Gina's feed, because she's got a lot of more local friends here and stuff.
Yes.
And they're like, well, we know better than you Northerners because we know if it snows, we just don't go outside. You're the ones causing trouble. But it's like, well, you're the ones getting in accidents.
Like, seriously, we went to that football game, and it was cold. Like, it was like 20, 25 degrees out Fahrenheit. So we're talking way below freezing. Kalamazoo got hammered. So they don't clean out the stands for a game. They clean out the main sections because not a lot of people go to those games. And then it's all snow. Yeah. And so my little guy, who's 7 or 8, literally played in the snow for 4 hours straight. He didn't care that it was 70 degrees. He was digging, like, imagine stands full of snow. He's like digging in the snow in the stands, and he's climbing, like, the big sides of a stadium and rolling down in the snow, and
that's awesome.
Sledding, having a great time. And like by the end of the game, I'm like frozen, and he's red cheeked, just still running around.
Yeah.
4 hours later, like, yeah, this is the best.
Yeah, I was glad to get the boys out for we got out for about 20 minutes. There was enough snow in the backyard where there's that hill.
Yes.
To go down there, so they were having fun before school.
That's amazing. Except for the roads getting shut down because people don't know any better.
It was crazy. I mean, so listeners, if anyone's out there, if you're from the South, let me help you out. There's just a few basic things. That's all you have to do. So drive slower than you normally would, but still like within reason. Yep. You're not like going 25 into 55. That's dangerous. But slow down. Mm-hmm. Plan to stop sooner. Mm-hmm. And then like don't if you see the road looks wet, don't try to stop or turn on that spot. That's really it. That's really it.
You got to remember back to your basic physics, right? You're going to move in a straight line. So if you have to do anything besides a straight line, slow your ass down. Slow down.
Paul always taught me. He said you can drive as fast as you want on ice just as long as you don't try to stop or turn.
Yes. And it's true. You can just keep going. I saw somebody post on Facebook. I think that's the one. And I was like, okay, I feel you, because I'm driving back through Kalamazoo, and I took all back roads back. The highways were kind of funky and slow.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'll take the back roads back. So I'm driving back roads, and I pass this huge parking lot, and there's 2 people in there, and they're just doing donuts, right? And I'm like, those kids out there doing donuts. And for sure, when we were kids, I would have been out there doing donuts, right? Like
I can remember doing donuts.
Yes, yeah, no doubt. So I'm like, those darn kids. And I like get home, and I'm kind of laughing about it because I'm like, really, are they hurting anybody? Like, there's nobody around. It's Sunday night, snowing, winter storm warning. Like, you're not hurting anybody as long as you're away from the light poles.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, I'm such a cranky old guy. And then I got online, and somebody was like, listen, if you see somebody like doing donuts in a parking lot, don't get all grumpy, because that's the only way you learn how to drive in snow.
That makes sense.
They're like, at least they're figuring it out in a parking lot where they can't hurt anybody than on the street. Like, that's how you learn to control your car. And I'm like, I like that. That is true, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've told people a lot, the reason I can drive the way I can drive, right, defensively, and I can get out of trouble, is because I used to practice driving on the farm, practicing for demo derbies, driving in the sun, the snow, the rain. Like, you know that, right? Like,
And that's when people are trying to hit you. You're learning to get out of the way.
yes. And so I'm like, we were learning how to do that, and we practiced not on a road. And now when I'm
Yeah.
on a road, I'm more comfortable in avoiding those situations, right?
Yeah.
Because so it's good to practice those, and I think honestly people should. I've never had my own kids really do it. A little bit up north, but I'm always
Yeah.
like, that's something that you should really get out and do. Just mess around in a car so you understand how the car works, why you have to turn into the swerve,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
Lightning McQueen is doing what he's doing.
I was trying to leave earlier, and Gina didn't want to. She wanted the safety for the kids. I wanted a new van, but it's fine. We ended up going sledding.
So we go sledding.
Yeah, it was fun. And someone smacks into you. As long as everyone's not hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Though, as you found out the last time, sometimes you got to pay a lot for the new van.
Yes, that was not exciting. I had to wait a long time. That was a very bad experience.
Yeah, that's no bueno there. So you last time foreshadowed a new development, and now it's real. Are you going to share it with our listeners?
I thought I was thinking I talked about it. I didn't.
You talked about it a little bit, but now it's real.
Okay, it is real. So officially released. It's okay to say no.
It's officially released.
It's officially on Amazon. It is officially on Amazon Kindle,
Yeah.
and I'm actively working on the audiobook. I was like we talked about, I was debating on reading it myself, but getting sick and everything, I just didn't want to wait. I found an AI that I'm super happy with. The AI's name is Brian, so I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm shooting for next week for that to be done and released there too. So I've already made some sales, so very excited about that too.
And this is huge, 119 pages. I thought you told me it was going to be like 84.
So one thing I didn't think about is that I was writing everything in Google Documents.
Mm-hmm.
And my Wit and I use Google for everything.
Yeah.
And then, if you didn't notice, Google Documents comes in a page that's roughly the size of a piece of paper.
Yeah, 8.5 by 11.
That's how it's formatted and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And most of your books are not 8.5 by 11.
They are not.
So when I was uploading everything the first time, like there was red everywhere, and I was like, that's not okay. So I went back into Google and I changed the paper I was writing on to where it was closer to a 6x9, because that's the size of what the book is going to be.
Sure.
And then I had to go through and like reformat it and everything like that. And it ended up being quite a bit longer. And I added a bonus chapter that's not talked about in there. So I'm super excited about the bonus chapter. I quote myself in it.
Well, if you are looking at our YouTube instead of Spotify, you can see I have it up for you right now on the screen. It's Okay to Say No by J.J. Antrim. It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle. Check it out. Give them a review. Whether you read it or not, leave them a review. That spurs traffic, and that would be amazing. Again, whether you read it or not, I'm going to get on there and leave a review, and I haven't read it at all. I'm just going to be like, yeah, it's okay.
You will. Well, I don't know if you will, but you'll have a copy in your grubby paws soon.
Really? That'd be awesome. I was going to ask.
Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, if you are on Spotify, like I literally searched J.J. Antrim in Amazon, and it popped up. So it pops up right away. We'll put a link of it on our Twitter feed, and we'll put one in our YouTube channel, and we'll put one in the comments on Spotify. We'll put it on our Discord so you can check it out. Remember, we also have journals available, so you can look at our journals too. But get after that.
New journal coming up soon.
Yeah, I just need to get my butt working. It's busy time. I'm letting things fall through the cracks right now. Did you order any author copies?
Yeah, I ordered a few that are supposed to be here next week.
Okay.
So
How
it was
many?
like, oh, actually, I take that back. I think it said December 6th to 10th. So maybe the end of this week.
So the first journal we did, I don't know. I ordered like 4 or 5, and the next
Uh-huh.
time I ordered like 10.
Okay.
What did you order?
What was better, do you think? I ordered 5.
Yeah. So the first time, like, I wasn't really like, it was our thing, and it was
Yeah.
the first time, and I was like, yeah, I'm just doing this. The second one, that was a biblical journal. Like, I knew I had a vision for what I wanted, right? So like, each
Yeah.
of my girls like got one with their name on it. Like, I left this streak in there so I could put people's names in purposely.
Yeah.
So, I put their names in it, and then I bought, like, I had them set out for, like, I could give one to my mom with mom on it, and I could put it in like the buyer's gift exchange. So I bought them specifically to go places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So that's so exciting. So yeah, listeners, this is a great time, I think, to reiterate something that Kilted Balls preaches all the time, and that is just do the stupid thing.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like, so many people, I have so many good friends, right, who like want to write books or want to do this or that. And like, one guy even gave me a book to proofread. And it was fantastic. It was great. I'm like, this is amazing. And he's like, yeah, there's going to be a sequel and this and that. I'm like, good, publish it.
Yeah.
This
He
was
never
like,
did?
it's like 15 years ago, and I don't think he did.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm like, they're so concerned with making things perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We're making them
Yeah.
right. And even like these people, I'm going to tell you, even these with like nothing in them, never have they been perfect, and I've always had to go in after I've published them and fix them again.
Yeah. Well, there was like 3 times I had loaded mine. Like, obviously just the first time was a major thing.
Yes.
But then other times where I didn't even have my table of contents filled out. It was just filled out as a placeholder. And then I just happened to notice it before I published it one time. That it was
Right.
just in there as a placeholder. Like no page numbers, anything
Yes.
like that.
Well, and
So
like
it was-
the first journal I did, I literally got my author copies and was like, oh shit, that's effed up, and went back and made changes, which is why they say on the thing, like, do you want a copy to proofread?
Yeah,
So
I
they-
probably should have done that, but
Yeah,
I've
but that's
been
not
through
how
this
we
book
operate.
No, I've been through this book so many times. If there was stuff, I like to think I'd notice it because, just writing it and then reading it and then formatting it so many different times. And like seeing one little, especially with the formatting, seeing one little mistake where it's like, oh, I like at one time I wanted to adjust the margins. So they were a little wider. So, because a bunch of the things weren't fitting right. Like I had a bunch of gaps where it wasn't going to be like a title word and then the paragraph underneath it. I
Yes.
wanted that title to be on there. So, but just like so many times in like reading through and looking at it, which is not what I usually do, but it was to make it at least look really good. But, and also going through and seeing that. And now like going through and like listening to the AI and making sure it sounds good and stuff like that. So it's like I'm listening to it now, which is super awesome. I mean, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I think that's so amazing. I think, again, people, that's how you got to operate. And like with something like
Yeah.
this, even when this comes out, like let's say I read this, I'm like, oh, you screwed up, Kilted. Like, go to page 55, look at this. You can go back and fix it. It's not like you
Oh,
made 10 million copies.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just go
That's
back
good.
and you say,
I guess I didn't think about that.
you
Yeah.
go, "Brrrp, I fixed it," and you re-upload it, and it'll be like, this won't work until 72 hours, and then it'll work, right? And so, it's kind of like doing a second and third edition. You get the power to do that, and
Yeah.
you shouldn't let chasing perfection slow you down from doing a thing, right?
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I said it on Facebook because I put it on Facebook, and that's always to me. Not that I was scared to or anything like that. Like I put everything out, but that's like people who knew me when I mean, not that I was a ne'er-do-well, but when I was in high school,
Yeah.
I was a lot more fun than I am now, and I didn't have as much going on as I have now.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and a lot of those people, that's all they know, and that's totally fine. And people that I know through life and through business, but one of the people I was talking to, where was this going? Oh, we had talked just a little bit on Facebook, but I made the comment, like, it popped up on my TikTok, like in my head, like this topic, it's okay to say no, was like one of the first TikToks I ever did. Was it 5-6 years ago when Gary first started talking? When you helped me move into this warehouse, that's when I started listening to Gary V, and that's when I got on TikTok. So there's one from way back, but it was talking about customers.
Yeah.
Like, don't feed me BS. Like, no, thank you. Is perfect. Yes. Oh, I'm going to think about it. I got to talk to my dog. I'm going to think about thinking about it. But that's what the TikTok was. So it's funny that I kind of circled back around to this idea.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to read it because that's something I tell people all the time. Like, you don't have to give excuses. You don't have to get reasons. You saying no is enough of a reason and doesn't require explanation. Mm-hmm. And I tell people that all the time, and it's hard. It's hard for people, like, because they'll say, "Hey, can you do this?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah. So, just a spoiler alert. A lot of the examples are how to dance around and actually not say no.
Yes.
But the idea is it's the same thing. And you can work up to that because a lot of people don't have that muscle.
No, they don't. It's hard for people. It literally, at Thanksgiving dinner, so we're sitting there in the buyer's basement, right? Like, the big meeting area, and we're talking, and I've got a sister in front of me here and a sister and brother over here. And we're all just talking and we're telling stories. And I'm like, seriously, like 30 of the things we talked about, I'm like, I've got to share this on the podcast. They're so freaking funny. They're so hilarious. Totally have forgotten all of them. Right?
Oh, man.
It was such a busy weekend. I lost it. But this one, like, I wasn't being funny, but my one sister was just like guffawing. We're having a conversation like all of us. And my one sister is like, I think it was like cars, but she's like, look at all those cars. And I'm like, no. And the other sister just starts like cracking up. And I'm just like, I wasn't like trying to be funny. It was that I was like, I'm not going to turn around to look at cars going by. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I'm probably going to miss them.
On Wasso Road? Like, were there that many?
Like, I don't know.
Turn around.
I'm like, one, I don't know why you're telling me, and two, like, that's just a hard pass, right? Which is a little thing, but like, I was just like, no, and I didn't like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I don't want to turn my neck, or like, I was just like, no. And my other sister thought that was like the funniest thing ever, and I'm just like, it's okay to just say no sometimes. Like, you don't have to just do stuff, and it's like my little boy, and I still remember this. Like, it doesn't happen a lot. And we're a very physical, touchy family. Yeah. But he would be there, and one sister, like when he was little, would always be like, "Yay, you're here!" and go to give him a hug, and he'd be like, "Yeah, no." And she'd be like, "Oh, ha ha ha!" And I'm like, "Whoa! If he says no, that's a no. Like it's okay. No. Yeah, I'm like, it's okay for him to say no, and you kind of like back off. He'll warm up to you." Yeah. But you don't need to traumatize him.
Yeah. Like, Morgan's the same way.
Yeah. I'm like, it's okay for him to just be like, nah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think Gary Vee always says you brought him up kind, candor, and all of that stuff. And I think that all is in the same thing. Like,
yes.
Figuring that out is big. And I think it's important for people to learn how to do that. I have a lot of people in my life who are yes people. And I'm always telling them, you need to stop. You need to be a no person sometimes.
You don't want to be surrounded by yes people.
Well, and like for them, like my job is to protect people, right? Like that's literally my gig. And when they're saying yes all the time, I'm like, you don't understand what that's going to do. Eventually you will break down. You can't say yes to everything and continue to live a good life because something has to get sacrificed.
Yes.
If you say yes to everything, and you're going to sacrifice things that aren't on fire. So your family is always the easy one. The family's not on fire, so I'm not going to race home to dinner because I said yes to 20 other things.
Yeah.
That you just
Exactly.
sacrifice that, right? You've got to say no because, yeah, that might not be a big deal right now. But in 2 years, when you realize, oh my gosh, I haven't had a family dinner except for Thanksgiving and Christmas, people are going to get bitter and they're going to get resentful and you're going to have a nervous breakdown. And we're trying to not do all of that.
Yes.
So,
We want people to stay healthy mentally.
we do. We do. Speaking of healthy mentally, and maybe this is a horrible tie-in, I don't know. But it was a weigh-in day for my wrestlers, and so my daughter weighed in, and she was like, "Can we get like Culver's or something?" I'm like, "Sure." And we get to Culver's, and the line's stupid atrocious. It took forever, but I needed gas, right? So we go through the line, we get our stuff, and I head over to the gas station, and like the gas station, there was like 2 or 3 open pumps, all facing the wrong way, right? So I drive all the way around. And I'm getting ready to pull in a spot, and this person comes like racing in and pulls into the spot. And I'm like, son of a gun. And I'm like, not really mad because I'm like, well, in reality, like they probably couldn't tell that I was almost there. Like I hadn't got to the spot.
Yeah.
I was close enough that I had to back out to go somewhere else, but I wasn't close enough where I could like be like, I'm here, back your ass up.
Yeah.
Right? So I was just like rolling my eyes. Like I'm like, silly person. Like they didn't even pay attention, right? They were totally oblivious. Probably didn't even know afterwards that they did it. Maybe they did.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I back out. I pull into my next spot. My daughter's kind of like chuckling because she saw it happen. But I pull into my spot and I start pumping gas. And I start laughing to myself because I see the person get out and like walk inside to the gas station. And it's one of my old students and a person who helped me before in cross country, who that daughter, like she loved the daughter who was with me, and my daughter loved her. Okay. And my daughter didn't recognize her at all, I'm sure. And like she didn't realize it was me because, you know, out of context, right? And you're in a car. Like I said, she was oblivious. She probably wasn't even paying attention. So I'm just like sitting here chuckling to myself. I'm like, you know, now I really don't feel bad giving her the space. Like, you know, she's a little bit weird, but, you know, okay. But
So you didn't give her a hard time because you knew her?
no. And it was like 2 spots down, but I was like, nope. I'm just going to, you know, I haven't talked to her for a little bit, Facebook friends and stuff, but I'm like, nope, you're a little odd, and I'm okay with not talking to you. So
Okay.
I'm like, we'll just keep on living life. And she gets out there, and I can hear her talking to the person. Yeah, I'm on Pup 5, and they're like, okay. And then, like, I'm filling up my truck, and the attendant comes out, and she's like, I can't get it to work. And the attendant's like, dang it, not another one. And then she's like, sorry, you're going to have to pull around to this other pump. So she gets in the car, does the drive of shame around, pulls into another pump. I see her pull to the other pump. The attendant lady like goes back in, and I'm like, sweet. I get in my car and I leave. And I pulling it out to my daughter, and she's like, ah, yes, things happen for a reason. And I'm like, I go, that wasn't like a bad thing for her. It was just an inconvenience. But I'm like, that, and I said to my daughter, I'm like, that's why you don't get mad when weird, inconvenient things happen. Like, maybe she was in a huge rush to get her kid to the hospital. I don't know. And I'm not going to, like, put that out there. I was just like, well, yay for her. She got the spot. But then, when that happens, I'm like, you didn't need that spot. And the universe was just like, silly.
Yep. That's awesome. That was a great tie-in.
Oh, my gosh. It just made me giggle. I was like, that's nice. And my daughter's like, you can't tell why things happen, but they're normally happening for some reason. I'm like, I kind of like that. Kind of like that.
I say that a lot, especially like accidents and stuff. Like if we're running late, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then like you pull up and like you see an accident that's newly happened. Like, oh, we were dilly-dallying, so we're driving past it.
Heck yeah.
Well, so that happened. I didn't talk about this. It was 2 weeks. It must have been 2 weeks ago. So Tristan got his motorcycle. He switched from a 600 to a 1,000 sport bike. Okay. So it's a lot of bike, and he's got one friend that he rides a lot with, and they met a new guy, and so we were like trying to get out of the house because we had to get down to Birkdale. There was a Christmas tree lighting, and then the boys, like their school was there, so blah blah blah, and we wanted to see them. So I wanted to leave like 2 hours before then, but we just didn't make it out of the house because I was like, it's going to be insane. Parking is going to be crazy.
Yes.
And, so we almost parked like next to my old apartment. Like that's how far we parked away.
Wow.
Because it was like nothing but a sea of cars. But anyways, like, we were talking to the boys, we were waving to them on the way out. And then we're pulled into the back of the neighborhood, long story short, because there's a shortcut now where there wasn't when we lived over there. So Jeannie gets a call from Tristan. He's like, there's been an accident, but I'm okay. And his buddy was going in. I don't know exactly what happened, but the person hit their brakes and he smacked into the back of his car, totaled his bike, 77, completely shut down behind us. Like we were like just in front of them because we were leaving like right when they were getting ready to pull out. So it was just crazy. So like, we're thankful, the friend is okay. We're like, make sure he goes to the hospital. Oh, he's okay. He doesn't want to go to the hospital. He's 19 or whatever. Like, just go to the hospital. But yeah, it's just like crazy how things happen. And just like, we hope like, we like to think that Tristan is, got a motorcycle. So, I remember when I was that age, he might not be going the speed limit everywhere, but, just got to be super careful.
So you cut out for the first part when you said Tristan, and then you cut out.
Oh man, I just said we hope he's careful when he rides his bike.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb
Speaking
here.
of, I start tomorrow.
Yeah, you start tomorrow working at the bike dealer, not just any bike dealer.
Yep, Tilly Harley Davidson.
Tilly Harley Davidson. That's going to be amazing.
Where are we going to go on?
I'm not going out on a limb. This is real. He is not being careful. Like, teenage boys are not careful.
In the same sentence. That's because it's a compound sentence, of course. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm always careful." And then I was going 120, and this happened. Like I don't remember the speed limit being 120 anywhere.
The problem is, Tristan's 19, right? He's 7 years out from having his frontal cortex developed. He cannot predict the future. He literally does not have the cognitive ability to do it. So his being careful is, well, I had both hands on the wheel at 120. Like, yeah, a boy that age, especially an immature boy that age, they have no concept. Which is why we have two dead friends, right? Like that's the reality. Yeah. They don't understand. We're old. Like we haven't developed prefrontal cortex. We understand that. Oh wait, if I'm driving 90, the risk reward is not there, right?
Yeah.
When you're 19, that's not there.
Yeah, you can go through a herd of deer and there's no problem.
There's no problem. No problem. You're like, yeah, whatever. Screw those deer. They'll get out of the way. Or I have full insurance. So.
Yeah. You always had good insurance.
I was literally laughing about that at a get-together recently. Somebody was complaining about some kids who, like, drove through a field. And they're like, they're just bad kids. And they're driving through this field. And they probably caused all this damage. And the person, like, laughed. And I'm like, I drove through fields all the time. I'm like, me and the valedictorians were driving around smashing mailboxes on the back roads. You don't have a brain at that age. Like it's not fully functional. That's why you have to have parents. And I know it sucks because you're 19 and you're an adult. It's why you have parents there putting on the brakes for you because you literally don't have the brains to do it. It's also, FYI people, why we send 18 and 19-year-olds to war. Mm-hmm. They don't know any better. You can't take a 40-year-old guy and send him to war. And literally you can't. Like, I think the age for the military is, 39 or something?
Something like that.
Because you can't convince a 40-year-old that it's worth it. They've got a fully developed brain. They're like, yeah, you know what? let Russia have Ukraine, let Ukraine have, like, literally don't care. Why would I
Yeah.
go over there? Right? But you take a kiddo who's full of piss and vinegar,
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's go.
Like, go ahead.
Hmm.
It's wild.
It is. It is. People forget that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to put that in perspective when I think of or like the kids doing stuff. It's just like they're kids.
They're kids.
Like, yeah.
That is a reasonable explanation. Like people will be like, you shouldn't say that. Oh, they're just being kids. No, that's the point. They are just being kids. That's not on them. That's on you letting them do it. You know they're gonna be dumb. You put in some kind of limitations to try to save them to get through it. Right? That's the gig. Right? Like I know my girls are gonna make bad decisions sometimes. My job is to make sure that they get through those bad decisions. Set up protections as best I can. Teach them how to wrestle and kill people.
That's it. That helps.
It helps. It helps. It's a thing. It's a thing. So, do you got big plans now that you're a published author and you're becoming super famous? More famous than you already are.
No, I'm just excited. Like, and there's so many things going on right now, and I'm really just following my excitement at in every moment. We talk about that, and sometimes I feel like I'm really like there were multiple nights where it was like time to go to bed, and like I go lay down and I'm just like laying there. So I'm like, I'm just gonna get up and work on my book.
Yeah.
So you're just like you're in that mode and your brain is working, and I'm super excited to kind of be back, like for the work, to kind of be out and like just interacting with people. And obviously I love my family. I love everybody here, but I'm looking forward to interacting with other people as well, like in real life. So and then also riding some bikes.
When are you going to do the orders? So
my plan is to print orders in the evening. Like before we got on, I printed a couple orders right there that came in.
Yeah.
Since I took the boys to school.
Yeah.
So I'll print more before I go to bed, and then in the morning, like if any like big ones came in or like it's a repeat customer, I definitely try to get those out right away. If not, they just get printed the next day and they go out. Especially like if I'm getting orders after 10, 11 o'clock, if it's not necessarily sent out that next day, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Right.
So, yeah, but with my schedule, I'll still be able to drop the boys off in the morning, so we still get that little bit of hanging out time and everything. The difficult part is going to be in the evenings because I'll be getting out at 6, and things tend to start winding down here at 6. So to be involved with everybody in that, but having the Sundays and Mondays off is pretty cool.
How far away is this from you?
8 miles.
That's like a no-brainer, right? 6 o'clock isn't bad because you're home by 6:10.
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm staying over, it's probably because I'm talking to a customer, and then that's just adding to the numbers.
Yes.
And it's all a numbers game, and there's going to be a lot of learning the next couple months here, and that's exciting too. I love learning new stuff, and
oh yeah,
I've been watching lots of bike videos and just different things like that too.
A lot of learning going on. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the journey. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I think this is probably a good spot to end it with your little Harley story. If you are in the market for a new Harley or a used Harley, give Kilted a call. Speaking of Kilted, I'm getting a kilt.
Awesome.
So I'm not getting a utility kilt. I'm just buying one fast and dirty from Amazon. But
nice.
There's a wedding coming up for my nephew, Jared. He's getting married. I'm not sure how much of his wedding I'll be able to go to. But, like, one of my other nephews wrote and said, hey, like, we're going to wear kilts to the wedding. Are you going to wear a kilt? And I was like, sure, whatever. And, like, I didn't think anything of it. And he sent me, like, a picture of his kilts. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And over Thanksgiving, we're all talking. And what I have torn feelings on this. But like the kiddos were talking. They're like, yeah, I've got to do this and this for the wedding. I'm like, I don't understand. They're like, well, it's whimsical. They said the dress is whimsical. And I'm like, oh. And they're like, that's why they're all wearing kilts. And I was like, oh. And they're like, what? And I'm like, so they're wearing kilts to be whimsical? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no. Kilts are serious business. They're not whimsical. And they're like, well, yeah, no, they're serious for sure. And I'm like, right, but they're not a whimsical thing. They're like, but it's a good reason to wear a kilt with like no judgment and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'll buy a kilt and wear a kilt with you guys. But I'm like, but it's serious. It's not like I'm not screwing around wearing a kilt.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
not gonna be wrestling.
No.
Or maybe you will.
Maybe I will.
Wait.
Oh, there it is!
You will? I have no idea how that happens.
What did you do? Wait, nod your head. Was it you nodding your head? No, it wasn't that. The mystery is still alive.
It thumbed down the other night when we were playing D&D. It thumbed down. Someone said something. It thumbed down. I don't know. It was funny.
I don't understand. Like if I say, nice job, Jer. Way to go. Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Oh, man, nothing.
No, I have no idea.
Okay, don't know what causes that. It's amazing. It makes me jealous that I can't figure out how to do it. So anyway, listeners, thank you so much for being here. Check out Kilted's new book, It's Okay to Say No, on Amazon, on Kindle. It's under his pen name, J.J. Antrim. It is not under Kilted Dragon. Don't know why you wouldn't use your real name of Kilted Dragon, but...
I was debating that. That might be for next time. Or a future episode.
Maybe. So, check it out. Check out the Harley dealership. What is it, Tilly?
Tilly, yep.
Yep.
Right off of 77 in Statesville. Right by that, you know where that giant RV shop is? It's right there.
Yep.
And everyone who drives up and down 77, if you're coming from the south, you pass the lake, then there's the...
I know where it is, but that's me, right?
Yeah.
It's not like there's a lot of Harley dealers out there.
Yeah, that's true. You can see it coming from the south. You can see it over there.
For sure. All right, people, we're so glad you tuned in. We love you, and this is Ballbuster signing off.
Kilted Dragon Chair, love you all.